Here is a cool fact about the Izzet Guild. It's one of the 10 guilds that make up the city of Ravnica in Magic the Gathering. It is led by the dragon wizard Niv-Mizzet. The Izzet are known for their love of experimentation, constantly tinkering with magic and technology to create new and powerful effects. It is believed that Niv-Mizzet could make lesser clones of himself. The purpose of these clones are unknown. Does this make your new commander Galazeth Prismari a lesser clone of Niv-Mizzet?
Who's that? Commander Claw! Who's bad? Commander Claw!
Welcome back to Commander Claw. This deck video will be budget friendly, meaning you'll be spending less than $50. In this video, we will give you two themes to build for this commander. First, it will be Spellslinger, casting numerous instants and sorceries for powerful effects. It's the nature of the Izzet Guild, by the way. The second option is Galazeth Prismari as a Voltron commander. Most EDH players didn't even consider this theme, but attaching strong equipments and harnessing the effects of spells to protect Galazeth or cause chaos for your opponents can make Galazeth unstoppable. Let's read Galazeth Prismari's abilities. He's an Elder Dragon for 2 colorless, red and a blue, on a 3/4 body. He has flying. Then he says when Galazeth Prismari enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Artifacts you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast instant or sorcery spells. Alert! The secret weapon for the deck belongs to the Reaver Cleaver. It's a red artifact equipment for 2 colorless and 1 red with an equipment cost of 3 colorless. Basically, if you attach this to Galazeth Prismari, he will get +1/+1, trample, and whenever he deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, create that many treasure tokens. You will be creating a 4/5 dragon with flying and trample, making you treasure tokens or mana rocks for your instants or sorceries, allowing you to cast more spells on one turn. Do note, you don't have to sacrifice the treasure tokens if you are casting an instant or sorcery. Now, let's talk about mana ramp. I want to start with mana ramp so you will understand how your board state will set up. Galazeth will be a unique commander because you will use mana ramp differently. Mana ramp will be in the form of 0 CMC artifacts, also known as Cheerios. I won't talk about each individual Cheerio card in the video. There should be around 12 to 14 Cheerios. They will be displayed as I talk about the mana ramp. When you have Cheerios in your hand, they are free spells. These Cheerios in this thing will be your keys to victory in the early game and late. You will want to play Cheerios early and often. Your turn 1, 2, or 3 plays can create a possibility of 6 or 7 mana when you cast your commander on curve, and turn 4 will be your curve point for Galazeth Prismari. These Cheerios will tap for mana and can be utilized for their ability. When you have your commander in play, Spellslingers will need as much mana as possible quickly. Moving on to card draw. For this deck, we are looking for explosive card draw, or anything that makes treasure tokens with card draw. Our first 2 cards are Unexpected Windfall and Big Score. They both have a rummage effect which requires you to discard a card. However, you will be drawing 2 cards and creating 2 treasure tokens. Finally, we have Seize the Spoils, which is the lesser version of the first 2. Are you ready for explosive card draw? There is nothing better than the blue staple favorite, Windfall. This card has a wheel effect causing all players to discard cards from their hands, then draw cards equal to whoever has the most cards in their hand. Do you see the explosiveness and potential to give you card advantage? Another blue staple we have is Brainstorm. This card works because it's below curve and can quickly manipulate your hand or the top 3 cards of your library. Do this at any time because it's an instant. A secret power with this card is the ability to protect your hand. When opponents cause you to discard a card or hand, you can easily cast Brainstorm and save an important card by placing it on top of your library, never losing it to discard effects. Our artifacts for card draw will be Tamio's Logbook. This 3 CMC blue artifact allows you to draw 1 card for 6 mana. Don't panic. You will never pay 6 mana for 1 card because your board state is filled with Cheerios and treasure tokens. The card allows you to pay 1 colorless less mana to activate the ability. For example, 3 Cheerios and 2 treasure tokens, you will pay only 1 blue mana to draw a card. Moving on to the mid-game. We will want to lock out your opponents. I'm warning you now, it is frowned upon to destroy all lands. Tectonic Break is an X spell, making each player sacrifice lands equal to the mana cost. This allows you to choose the amount of destruction, possibly keep 1 mana on the battlefield for security. The second and final destroy land card is Boom Bust. Boom lets you destroy a single land on an opponent and a land you control. It's a great exchange rate for opponents playing abusive lands that essentially win the game for them. The first land that comes into mind is Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Now the bust side is the ideal effect here. Destroy all lands for 6 mana without any requirements. Finally, we are at the theme for Spellslingers. Are you the type of Spellslinger that likes to cast big spells? Well, this will be easy to do with all your extra mana rocks called Cheerios. Here we have listed Brass's Bounty and Mana Geyser. These two spells are mana generators to give you mana advantage in order to cast game-winning combos or sequences. Between the two, Brass's Bounty is more ideal because the mana generator is treasure tokens. Brass's Bounty has 11 infinite combo possibilities with red or blue cards, while Mana Geyser works with one card to provide players infinite red mana, infinite storm count, and infinite Magecraft triggers. That one card is Reiterate. Continue with the Spellslinger's theme, we added 2 defensive cards. Of course their color is blue, and they are counterspells. The 2 cards are Access Denied and Spell Swindle. Yep, you guessed it. They will be creating either 1/1 Thopters or treasure tokens based on the card's mana value. Counter an expensive spell and watch your board develop with 5 or more mana rocks. Looking to win the game with a burn spell? Comet Storm and Jaya's Emulating Inferno are amazing because they have multiple targets. They are big X spells too. My favorite between the two is Comet Storm because it's an instant and you only need to pay 1 extra colorless mana to add an additional target. This allows you to be more selective on desired targets to destroy or opponents. Jaya's Emulating Inferno will only work when Galazeth Prismari or another legendary you control is on the battlefield. However, it gives you an automatic 3 targets. Crackle with Power had to be included because it's the definition of a game winner. This X spell has 3 X's in the casting costs. No need to be confused. The math is fairly simple. I'll give you a trick. When casting this card, outside of the 2 required red mana, pay 3 mana for 5 damage to 1 target, pay 6 mana for 10 damage to 2 targets, pay 9 mana for 15 damage to 3 targets. Expansion Explosion is another must-add because of the versatility. First, just know when you see the dual-sided cards, you can actually cast both sides at once. On Expansion Explosion, you can cast Expansion to copy an instant or sorcery with 4 CMC or less, while the Explosion is an X spell that deals damage to any target and allows target player to draw cards. You get to choose the targets. More Spellslinger Fury. Let's add explosive card draw, preferably at instant speed. The 2 cards we have are Blue Sun Zenith and Pool from Tomorrow. They are both X spells and instant speed with 0 to little drawback. We have arrived to our second thing, which is the Voltron Commander. I must first explain, if you choose this path, you will have to exchange the big X spells for more low CMC protective spells or anything that can distract your opponents. You will want to protect Galazeth with counterspells, redirects, or phase-out effects. You will be at advantage with your battlefield littered with Cheerios to cast instants or sorceries. Now for the equipment you want to attach. We mentioned our secret weapon, the Reaver Cleaver. The next equipment will be Tenza Goda's Maul. Buff up Galazeth Prismari to a 6/7 flying dragon with trample. The value is great because it only costs 1 colorless to equip. This is the perfect amount after you cast a Galazeth with expensive commander tax. Another equipment is the Onaginata. For only 1 colorless to cast and 2 to equip, Galazeth can be a 6/4 dragon with flying and trample. Now the next equipment will receive pushback because we mentioned destroy land effects. However, Black Blade Reforged has too much value, and you may not need to blow up lands to lock out your opponents. When attached, Galazeth will receive +1/+1 for each land you control, making him swing for lethal commander damage actually. This one card is Lunar Frenzy, an instant X-red spell that gives your creature first strike, trample, and +X0. Your opponents won't see it coming when you cast this in your combat phase. Now I want you to imagine your Galazeth Prismari with flying, first strike, trample, and +X0. Since Lunar Frenzy is an instant, you can add more power using your Cheerios or other artifacts on the battlefield. Finally, we have lands. They are not expensive, but they are worth the add. First, we have Desolate Lighthouse. Use this card for its repeatable rummage effect. Tap 1 colorless, red and a blue, and consistently dig through your library to find ideal cards. Now we have Treasure Vault. Notice it's an artifact land. When Galazeth is on the battlefield, you can use it to tap for any 1 colored mana for instant or sorceries. Its second ability allows you to create treasure tokens, but you will need to sacrifice Treasure Vault. In the activated ability cost, you see 2 X circles. It will require you to pay 2 mana for 1 treasure token. Emergent Zone is mandatory. This land allows you to cast spells this turn as though they had flash. This is any spell, not specific to sorceries, creatures, enchantments, etc. Cast game-winning spells on other players' turns with this land. Finally, our last card of the video, Mystic Sanctuary, which allows you to retrieve the instant or sorcery from your graveyard. The only requirement is to have 3 islands in play. This is a mid to late game effect that could put that game-winning card back in your hand. Thank you for watching the Deck Tech on Galazeth Prismari. If you like this video, don't be afraid to hit that like and subscribe button. You will want to stay notified for more great deck brewing ideas for commanders. The next two videos on your screen are suggested videos from YouTube specifically for you. Click and enjoy.